The elders say that love is like the harmattan wind. It arrives unannounced, settles deep into the skin, and leaves its marks long after it has gone. This is the story of Inkem and Obiara. In the village of Umuagu, where red earth clung stubbornly to bare feet and the air always carried a scent of roasted corn and wood smoke, Inkem was known as the girl who laughed like the Egu festival drums. Bright, full, impossible to ignore. She was the first daughter of Okeke the palm wine tapper, a man whose hands were hardened by years of climbing tall trees, and whose pride rested on the shoulders of his children. Nkem's beauty was often whispered about in the marketplace. Skin like polished mahogany, eyes that held stories, and a quiet strength that made even elders pause. But beauty in Umuagu was never just a blessing, it was a responsibility. Remember who you are, her mother would often say, tying her wrapper tightly around her waist. Amawanyi. A good woman brings honor, not just to herself, but to her father's compound. Inke would nod, though her heart often wondered what was beyond the boundaries of expectation. Obiara was not from Wagu. He came from a neighboring village across the Nkese River, a place known more for its stubborn warriors than its farmers. He arrived during the New Yam festival, when the village was alive with color. Masked dancers leaping like spirits, women singing ancient songs, and the elders pouring libations to honor the ancestors. Obiara came with his uncle, a trader, but he carried himself like a man searching for something he could not name. He first saw Inkem near the Nko tree in the village square, where she stood with other maidens, their beads catching the sun. But while others laughed and whispered, Inkem was still, watching the masquerades with a gaze that seemed to see beyond the masks. Obiora felt it then, a quiet pull, like the river calling to the thirsty. And as though guided by something older than reason, Inkem turned. Their eyes met. The drums faded, the dancers blurred, even the elders' chants seemed distant. Later, Obiora would say, it was as if my chi had been waiting for years. Love in those days did not grow in secrecy. It grew in glances, in shared silences, in small acts that spoke louder than words. Obiora began to visit Umago more often under the pretense of trade. He would bring kola nuts and dried fish, but always his true purpose was to sing Kem. They spoke by the river at dusk, when the sky burned orange and purple, and the world felt softer. I want to travel beyond the river, Obiora once said, skipping a stone across the water. There are cities where the roads never sleep, where men become more than what they were born into. Nkem smiled faintly. And will you forget the village when you go? Obiora turned to her, his voice low. Can a man forget his own breath? She laughed. Then, but her heart trembled, because she knew dreams like his did not leave room for roots. The trouble began quietly, like a crack in a clay pot. Ikem's father had noticed. Suitors had begun to come, men with titles, men with yam bands, heavy with harvest, men whose names carried weight in the council of elders. Among them was Chief Ezedun's son, a man of wealth and influence. Your daughter is ripe for marriage, the chief had said, his tone leaving no room for refusal. Okeke agreed. In Umagu, Edetta's marriage was not just about love. It was about alliances, survival, and respect. When he came head, her laughter disappeared. I cannot marry him, she told her mother, her voice shaking. Her mother's eyes softened, but her words were firm. You do not always marry for love. Sometimes love comes after. But what if he does not? Her mother had no answer.